Okay, so hello. This is one of my Reflect and Connect videos, and I honestly think that this reading was very intuitive and also kind of mind-opening because, my generation has grown up surrounded by technology, and sometimes it's hard to remember that there was a time in the classroom where technology wasn't used. I mean, back when I was in elementary school, the most we had for before projectors and all of that stuff, before the most we had as technology was those little boxes that had the light and the magnifying glass that would just reflect onto the board, and then you wrote on the clear pieces of paper. You wrote on like I want to say like with whiteboard markers, something like that. It's been a long time since I was in elementary school, so I don't quite remember. Um, but yeah, it was interesting that now that technology and our oh god, what's the word? And our ability to use it has changed so drastically that now we have to really think about how to use this in the classroom. I mean, part of me thinks that COVID actually really helped out with this because, especially in my music classrooms, in my music classes like orchestra or band when I was in band, um, it was very helpful during COVID because everything got switched to technology. You had your Zoom calls, you had Google Classroom, you had Google Meets, you had different forms that were set out, you had different assignments like using GarageBand. Um, and I've even seen that in my college career, especially with all the asynchronous courses that I've taken. I took music and technology last semester, which was a completely asynchronous course that used a lot of online tools. And I think it's very interesting that we need to find a way to kind of put this in the classroom along with what we're used to doing. So one of the things that I liked that I've used in my experience before has been the use of a low budget computer lab. So in my high school, when I went back to visit, I think a year ago, I noticed that they repurposed one of their study hall rooms for a computer music lab. So they had not the most expensive pianos, but they had pianos, electric ones set up around the room, and they were just sitting on top of your standard desks, and it was very low budget. But upon talking to my band director, apparently he had spoken to the school board about kind of incorporating it into the classroom because he had noticed that a lot of students want to learn piano. So you know there was similar to one of the projects I did in music and tech where you had to create your own computer lab on, a budget, a friendly budget. And he managed to do that on a very low budget, which was very interesting because he had a lot of people interested in the class. And of course, there's only so many computers to go around. But things like that I think are really interesting because not every student is going to be prone to a wind or a brass or a string instrument or percussion. Some students just want to learn piano because it's, maybe they have a piano in their house. Maybe they're more prone to, like, oh, my brain works towards lead sheets and chords and stuff like that. So allowing to, providing a space for students to learn like that is important and I think should be utilized. On top of that, Google Forms and Google quizzes, Google Sheets, things like that, where you can take surveys of students in class, see what they like, what they don't like, especially as a new teacher. I did this with one of our projects earlier in the semester where the two questions project where we had to answer a question, and part of me answering my question about how do you program for an orchestra and ensemble that you've never taught, you don't know where their ZPD is you can ask the students themselves what they would like to play. So we've talked about that. We've talked about a teacher who uses the March Madness as a way to choose a song for the concert for her seniors and things like that. And it's a great way to use Google. I think it's Google Forms for that. On top of that, some of the observations that we've been to, we've seen, lots of technology at their disposal and very little technology at their disposal in practicums and observations. I think at Fredonia High School they had a projector, like an easy board, and she quickly just pulled up what they were going to be doing for the day and projected it on the board, and all the students knew exactly what to do, which I think is extremely helpful because she doesn't have to sit there and spend time writing it out on the board. when she already has so much to do. And she can make it the night before and just easily project it onto the screen, and the students know exactly what to do. There's that. And then also when we went to Orchard Park, he had, it was also mentioned in the article about like tuners and tuning apps. Instead of having an individual, electric tuner for each person, which becomes expensive for the school, he just had a little speaker that held an A and then a D if he wanted to, and he could change it to any pitch that he wanted. Drone, I don't know what he called it. I don't know what it is. But things like that we could really use, could be very helpful, especially if all your students have phones and you can get a tuning app on there.